Hey everyone, this is me coming to you with I want to talk about the book of James. James is a very, what they call practical book in the Bible. Has lots of, wisdom, lots of things that we can easily, you know, institute in our lives. And I want to talk about the book of James. So I will be going through each chapter in this letter, um, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we think is really important in it. Let's talk about what we think we as Christians should do more of as well. So let's start talking about it right now. All right. So let's start with chapter 1, of course. Here we go. This letter is from James, a slave of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am writing to the 12 tribes, Jewish believers scattered abroad. Greetings. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Okay, so let's stop right there for a moment. What stood out to me is he's talking about. He says, when your faith is tested. Not if your faith is tested, when. So I guess we should never be surprised when our faith is tested, because like Jesus said, when troubles come, not if trouble comes. So if our faith is going to be tested, we should consider it an opportunity for growth, and that's what I get from it. He says, so let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Yeah, so perfect and complete, needing nothing. I have to go more into that, because that part I don't really know about. How can I be perfect and complete? I can see, being, getting there, you're developing, growing, but he says perfect and complete. So there might be some, word or something that this meant, because we all, we can't be perfect, right? Or maybe we can be our perfect selves in this life. Maybe that's it. All right, so I'm going to go on. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. But when you ask him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. Do not waver, for a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. Such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Their loyalty is divided between God and the world, and they are unstable in everything they do. So what stands out to me, of course, here is, hey, if you need wisdom, ask God. Ask God for wisdom. And it says he will give it to you. It says, but when you ask him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. I am reading the New Living Translation of the scriptures. I'm pretty sure the NIV and like New King James have a different wording for this, but I think the general meaning is there. So we are to be sure when we ask God and have that faith in Him to ask anything, and we should not waver, because it says here, such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord, and their loyalty is divided between God and the world. So let's not have our loyalties divided between God and the world. because we don't want to, we want to be loyal to God and not the world. I mean, we live in the world. We have to abide by the rules, obviously, because those rules are God's rules, and for the most part. And let's not be unstable in everything we do. So moving on, believers who are poor have something to boast about, for God has honored them, and those who are rich should boast that God has humbled them. They will fade away like a little flower in the field. The hot sun rises and the grass withers. The little flower droops and falls, and its beauty fades away. In the same way, the rich will fade away with all of their achievements. So, it's saying right here, hey, believers who are poor have something to boast about. I mean, we don't want to be poor, and maybe it doesn't mean financially poor. I'd have to look up that. But then he goes on to talk about those who are rich should boast that God has humbled them. So he's saying here that basically it's an honor to be poor, and God is humbling you if you're rich. That's interesting. What do you think about that? I've read this book, this letter of James, so many times, and I didn't really think about that part. So what do you think? I'll tell you this. I don't want to be poor, but I don't. To be honest with you, I don't want to be rich either. I think rich is just it's a lot. It's just too much of your life kind of. You're worried about if someone's going to take money from you and several other things. So, that's interesting. Tell me what you think. And at the risk of having this go, I don't like for videos to be too long, but I'll go over one more section of this, and then I'll finish next time with the rest. God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and He never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. So, God blesses those who patiently endure temptation and testing. So when we have our tests, let's try to patiently endure it and see maybe the message that God is trying to bring us in that testing and temptation. And it says, afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him. So let's continue to love God, and don't say God is tempting us. I don't really hear too many people ever saying, "Oh, I think God is tempting me." Oh, I hear a lot of people saying the devil is tempting me. Satan is tempting me. Get behind me, Satan. I hear a lot of people saying, but they never say God is tempting me. Maybe that's something people used to do, way back in these biblical days. That's interesting. But temptation, it says, comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. So let's change our desires to, be in line with God's desires. And, temptation will definitely be reduced significantly, if not altogether. Well, not if not altogether, but it will be reduced significantly. It will not altogether go away, because we can try as we might, but we can only go closer and closer towards God's desires, and we'll slowly but surely get there. But being a person in this world especially today in this digital and information age. There's just so many things being thrown at us for our attention and everything. So, yeah. So that was James chapter 1, verses 1 through 15. So I'll look at 16 through the end of chapter 1 next time. So let me know. Hey, why don't you read James? Tell me what you think about some of those things that were I just talked about there, and leave your comments and post your own video. I'd like to hear and see what you have to say about these also. So, all right, see you later. Bye bye.